One of the main fundamental reasons that I would contribute to the Australian dollar weakness is, of course, the situation in China. Right, a lot of slowdown in China. I saw something, I thought it was an interesting chart. It was Chinese equities are at the weakest level that they have been in many years against the U.S. equities. Just to point out the weakness in and confidence in the Chinese economy and Chinese stocks. Thought that was kind of interesting, but of course, why does that matter to the Australian dollar? Well, they're both in the Pacific Ocean and they do a ton of trade together. So slowdown in the Chinese economy can really impact the Australian economy. Speaking of economies and stuff that's on the radar here, we've got JOLTS job openings coming in sub 5 minutes from now. I wanted to ask you, Frank, about the 2-year yield. I know that's been a theme for us, talking a lot about the 2-year, talking about this dollar. We're coming into JOLTS job openings here in just 5 minutes or so. What are you thinking here on the yields? Obviously, you pointed this out. That orange line is a big one. Tell us a little bit about what we're currently looking at.
Yeah, so the yields, I mean, they're down today, but overall still in a pretty strong uptrend, and it's justified by the fact that, the Fed's raising rates, and they're likely to keep it at this level for a while. Nothing new here, but prices coming down to, like, you can even draw trend lines on these things, and they kind of behave the same way as like a currency pair. But we're watching some rejection off the trend line. We're hitting up towards highs of July, and then it dipped down. It's coming back up and testing. We're at these pretty high levels from levels we haven't hit in over a decade. I think the last time was 2006 when the 2-year yield was at 5%, and that's sort of impactful. I think investors are kind of digesting this, that we've reached this sort of height from ultra low interest rates to what we are at currently in a shorter amount of time than we did back from like '03 to '06. We've hit this in like 2 years, which is pretty impressive from like a monetary standpoint. The Fed has been very aggressive overall. But yeah, looking at this, seeing high rates, also has me looking at certain pairs. So I want to tell you what I'm in currently, and then what I cannot type. I got into pound yen, and that's more so on a COT side of things. I saw an aggressive buy on the pound, and then more selling on the yen. So nothing really has changed sentiment wise. I know people are discussing when the YCC BOJ is going to step in and start raising rates again, but so far it's still very dovish in Japan. So looking to test those highs at the trend line again, and hopefully going to see a move higher. On top of that, I'm looking at oil. I'm not in oil, but I want to trade it to the downside, seeing seeing this level right here on this falling trend line. You can see some rejection from yesterday's candle. It tried to come up again, got rejected again. And I know the day just started, but this looks like some selling pressure. And, even, I guess, even the slightest drop in yields as we're watching right now is affecting gold. But I think it's more so from China, the
Sure.
the lack of robustness everyone anticipated. So I'm looking at
Yeah.
this pound yen, or I'm in pound yen, pound Aussie, looking at to the long side. I want to look at the indices too, but COT's showing something on the contrary, so I'm probably gonna stay out of indices until I see otherwise. But yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that the dollar, and I'll take over the screen here for just a second because we are going into Jolt's job openings. We'll be able to react here a little bit together. I've just got the dollar index pulled up while we wait. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, Frank. That yield, the 2-year bumping up against that long term, kind of high. Is it gonna Is it going to see kind of a retracement? Are we going to cool off from there? It does seem like the indices are a little bit optimistic today going into this first round of jobs data. But again, markets will definitely react to this. And of course, we'll have to come back to Tom following this spike here, if there is a spike, to see if anything changes or if there are any pressing setups, especially with some USD pairs. We got breaking news coming in right now. Check it out.
Did you know our market scanning software, the EDGEFINDER, just got even better? Check out our newest asset, Bitcoin. That's right, Bitcoin was our most requested feature update, and we're so excited to announce Bitcoin is finally here with plans to add even more crypto in the future. We've also updated our most popular feature, the Smart Money Tracker, adding even more data than before. The EDGEFINDER not only automatically scores 8 different metrics for each asset to give it an overall buy, sell, or neutral score, but it also keeps track of bank and analyst positioning, stores historical fundamental data, shows how assets are trending throughout the day, and so much more. Right now, our YouTube viewers can get the EDGEFINDER at a discounted price when they use promo code A1YT. You can check out the EDGEFINDER with the link down in the description below, and again, get it for the special discounted price when you use promo code A1YT at checkout.
Getting our job openings numbers here in just a moment. Let's see if it does have any impact. Again, I've got the dollar index here. An initial push to the downside. That is a pretty substantial move here to start off. It's moving here to the downside. Dollar. Yeah, this is the dollar index. So we're seeing some dollar weak. Probably seeing a little bit of a pop on things like the euro. Let's see how the indices are reacting. Look at that. Nas loves that. Gold. Also seeing a pop to the upside here, so perhaps some good numbers out of the job openings, or actually, I don't know, Frank, what does that mean? Dollar strength, dollar weakness. That less job opening, is that likely what's happening?
I would say that this is optimistic for the indices to see. You know, I don't really watch JOLTS, to be honest, but because the labor participation rate is changing, so the number of job openings doesn't necessarily mean much. I think NFP is a way better indicator, but seeing lesser job openings is kind of like a hit at the job market, and that's what the Fed wants to get down to their target goal. And I think when you see poor economic data like this, investors will be more, I guess, relieved that, okay, maybe the Fed won't be as aggressive. But
and we see 8.83 million here on the JOLTS job opening. So that is a pretty substantial miss in terms of, well, I guess it depends who you ask, right? If you're a dollar bull, obviously this is not great. This is showing perhaps some weakness in the job market. But Frank, I totally agree with you. In terms of the indices, JOLTS job openings, not usually something that we spend a tremendous amount of time focused on. However, when you do get a pretty substantial miss like this is pretty meaningful. That is a substantial miss in terms of that's right. What, 750,000 job openings that weren't there when it came time to report. So there's a lot of perhaps suggestion here that this might mean the job market is finally starting to see some signs of cooling. But again, like you said, we probably really will only get true confirmation from NFP later this week, at least in terms of the indices. The indices really like this initial move. We see also the euro making a push higher, actually breaking this downward trend. I was thinking we would see some sell-off there, but it does seem like dollar weakness is definitely the theme of the day. Look at that dollar index coming down pretty hard. I want to go back to Tom. Tom, any dollar pairs that are really catching your eye on this move here this morning?
No, I'm in euro Canadian dollar as we speak. Got a couple of alarms going off as well. So yeah, because when US dollar news comes out, I'm reluctant to be in a US dollar pair, but I'm happy to trade non-US dollar pairs. And I think this is something to do, obviously, with oil as well. I mean, oil has had a real, like Frank was explaining, that this weekly level of oil is unbelievable. This has been holding since November 22 up until today. This is like the most stubborn piece of resistance I've ever seen in trading. this level, and we're getting some some oil weakness as a result, and this led me to think EuroCAD would also be a nice buy opportunity, because if we look at the daily chart, we were in a downtrend, and now we're in a uptrend stroke range. Yeah, so
Sure.
the idea was just to come from the bottom of this range up to the top of this range, with the backing of oil potentially coming down. And because of that euro US dollar strength is but we should be getting US dollar Canadian weakness as well, as in the CAD should be coming down, but that euro is flying. Yeah,
it sure is. That definitely was pretty impactful in terms of market news. Also, I'll leave you guys to keep going with some ideas for a minute here. I am currently trailing a stop on this NASDAQ trade. If I can show you my screen for just 1 second, I'll just keep you guys up to date. So NASDAQ just popped on this move. We're floating about 2,800 on this move, and I am now going to go ahead for members. Just keep an eye on the channel. I'm going to be dropping the update here with my trailed stop. So just if you are a member inside of the Discord, just head over to the swing trades room, and I'll be updating my NASDAQ trade. So Tom, back to you for a second. I'll let you kind of just keep going with your thought there. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm just going to trail this stop and update members in the group.
Okay, so guys, EuroCAD, I'm looking to take price back up to these daily highs. So happy with this. I almost got stopped out. Yeah, my stop was at 89, just below here, but didn't get stopped out. These H1 lows held, so that trade's looking good. I was also interested in pound Swiss franc at the start of the day, but less so now, I must say, because again, pound Swiss franc was in a range basically, and we've been just ranging from these two levels, and we got a bullish reaction from these lows, and the idea was to come back up to the top of this range, and I'm still interested in this as well, but we just haven't had a setup yet. I mean, if we drop down to the H4, nothing, I can't buy a candle like this. Yeah, it's just too bearish. But if we get a bullish reaction at these lows with this H4 candle, then potentially I'm still interested in taking pound Swiss franc up to this level, if not further. And that will also depend on the indices, because as you know, Swiss franc is a flight to safety currency. So if we keep seeing this indice strength, that should translate into a bit of Swiss franc weakness as well. So yeah, pound Swiss franc, I'm looking at that, guys. What else was I looking at today? Euro Aussie dollar. Yeah, but I preferred Euro Canadian dollar, but this is not having as much of a bullish reaction. If we compare Euro Aussie dollar to Euro Canadian dollar, there's some real Canadian dollar weakness in the market right now. It might be, because of that oil coming down. So, that's what I'm seeing right now, guys.
Very cool. Thank you, Tom, for that. And I just want to follow up for those of you guys who are also watching NASDAQ. Here's where I'm at with it. I just trailed that stop just below this market structure. So we just had the news. Again, weaker job openings than expected really helped the indices out here. Probably just a bit of a relief rally now off the back of, again, less fear about the Fed needing to crack down. But again, it's a bit early. So I still want to I want to put a stop loss in this trade, trail it into profit, because as Frank, you pointed out earlier, NFP is still around the corner and this thing could just come right back down. So I'm going to try and trail this thing, keep an eye on it. But again, a good start in terms of this week's jobs data. Frank, what else is there anything you're looking to trade off of the back of this big move here? Or is there anything that is coming into perhaps a level you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, oil's coming down. I kind of want to see what I can, or where I can get in on that, but I'm mostly looking at the daily chart and just watching the longer term moves so I can see that. But I have the S&P pulled up here. I wish I was in that trade with you, but
It's nice
Yeah,
to finally catch one, Frank. I've missed like 3 or 4 different moves in a row, so I'm relishing in my finally my Nasdaq trade has come into play. So
yeah. And Nas,
yeah.
I think, is the best performer today, which is amazing. I think I don't really want to chase price here. But we have another top it's going to reach soon. So maybe it'll test this level around 44.76. If it breaks that, maybe it's an indication of higher highs, but you never know. It can always just come all the way back down. So maybe I'll be looking at this trend line again, or if I'll be looking on lower time frames to see some confirmation on like the 4-hour or the 1-hour. But yeah, I just probably will just be keeping my eye on the S&P, because I do think that it likely we'll want to come up and test this March 22 level, which was like the highs of last year, which is a pretty psychological level, which I think, because the buyers continue to step in on this long-term trend line, that I don't think that, as long as it stays above it, I don't think there should be any bearish sentiment. But at the same time, I'm thinking this might trade sideways, so we might see it go up a little more and then come back down to lower levels, maybe test the trend line. But I don't think the trade is over. I think the whole trade will end up at this top right here. So I'm not in a huge rush, but I will be looking to get in the S&P.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I think you've had that orange line on your chart for quite some time. I know that's kind of is that your kind of annual target here, or where you think this thing could go? I mean, I would tend to agree that we probably make a way back to the March last year highs. It's a very different market this year.
Right. I do think it's gonna touch there eventually, and all it needs to do is stay above this trend line, and I'll keep that bias.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EDGEFINDER, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.